Hi everyone. In the previous video, we have discussed the type of logical operator, that is negation, conjunction, disjunction and exclusive OR. Now in this video, we are going to learn what do we mean by conditional statement and biconditional statements. For defining conditional statement, let P and Q be two propositions. The conditional statement P implies Q is the proposition which states that if P then Q. Now suppose अगर आपके पास दो propositions हैं, we are saying that first statement is implying to the second one. What does it means? We say if P, अगर P है, then we have Q. As per the conditional statement, the P implies Q is false when P is true and Q is false. Otherwise, it is true. Now, what does it mean? It say that जो आपकी P implies Q statement है, that is false only in one case, when P is true and Q is false. Why it is happening? Because it is like a promise. कैसे? If you fulfill the P statement, then you will get Q. Now, fulfill P statement means when P statement is true, then definitely you will get a Q statement. But अगर आपको Q statement नहीं मिली, it means promise break हो गया है. So, only in that case it is a false, otherwise it is true. Moreover, in the conditional statement, P implies Q, P is called as a hypothesis or premises or antecedent, whereas Q is called as a conclusion. So we say if hypothesis is valid, then conclusion is there. But if hypothesis is valid and conclusion is not there, in that case the statement is false. Note that the conditional statement is also called as implication. Why? Because if P is there, so definitely it is implying that Q is there. Now let's try to construct the truth table for P implies Q. As we have two propositions, it means there are four possible cases in a truth table. What are they? When the P statement is true, for Q it can be true or false, and when the statement P is false, Q is either true or false. तो हमारे पास यहाँ पे 4 केसेस है ट्रूथ टेबल में for analyzing the P implies Q statement. Now, if P statement is true as well as Q statement is true, P implies Q is true. Now, if P statement is true and Q is false, what does it mean? अगर आपकी statement P fulfill हो गई है लेकिन आपके पास Q नहीं है, that is completely incorrect. Even as per the definition, it is incorrect. Now, if P statement is false, then either Q is true or false, the answer is always true. Why? Because as per the statement, it says that अगर P है तो Q है. Just ये एक statement है, P is implying Q. अगर P नहीं है, Q हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है, तो वहां पे कोई restriction नहीं है. It means as per this statement it is true. Let's try to understand with the help of example. Consider a statement that professor might make. If you get 100% on the final, then you will get a grade A. Right now, P statement is you get 100% on the final and the Q statement is you will get a grade A. यहाँ पे statement क्या conclude कर रही है? 100% in a final implies grade A. Now, if P statement is true, Q statement is true, तो promise आपका kept है. It means 100% on the final as well as you are getting a grade A. तो जो भी प्रोफेसर ने स्टेटमेंट पास की थी एज अ प्रॉमिस दैट इज देयर, सो इट मीन्स द स्टेटमेंट इज ट्रू. नाउ सपोज P statement is true means you are getting 100% in the final, but you are not getting a grade A. So clearly you feel that you are cheated. Why? Because if you score 100%, definitely you will get a grade A. तो यहाँ से हमें ये चीज मिलेगी ही मिलेगी. अगर नहीं मिल रही तो स्टेटमेंट फॉल्स है. Now suppose if you are not getting 100% in the final, means these two cases. Now either you can get grade A or not. पॉसिबिलिटी है. कब पॉसिबिलिटी है? अगर आपके पास 99% हो तो still possibility है to get a grade A. But if you get 35 marks in the final, then you will not get a grade A. तो दोनों केस यहाँ पे कंसिडर है. So ultimately you can check it. ये स्टेटमेंट कह रही है अगर 100% है तो ग्रेड ए मिलेगा. अगर 100% नहीं है, कोई कमिटमेंट पास नहीं की प्रोफेसर ने, सो इट मे बी पॉसिबल आपको 100% ना मिले बट ग्रेड मिले, और 100% भी ना मिले और ग्रेड ए भी ना मिले. स्टिल एज पर द स्टेटमेंट दिस इज ट्रू. So always remember P implies Q is false only in one case, when P statement is true and Q statement is false. Means when hypothesis is true and conclusion as false. Also you can think P implies Q where P is kind of a cause and Q is as its effect. So if cause happens, the effect must follow. However, if cause does not happen, the effect might or might not happen. So nothing is guaranteed. Now there are many ways to represent the conditional statement if P then Q by these forms. Like we can write P implies Q. As per this one, we can also say that remove then directly you get the conditional statement as if P comma Q. Also we can state that P only if Q is there, or P is sufficient for the Q, or we can say that a sufficient condition for Q is P, or Q if P, or we can say Q whenever P, or which is similar to Q when P. Also we can write the sentence as Q is necessary for P. Also we can say a necessary condition for P is Q. Next, Q follows from P, and last but not the least is Q unless negation P. So जब भी आपके पास unless condition आएगी, you will get the negation of the original hypothesis. Now we are moving to the next logical statement, that is biconditional statement. For that we need two propositions. Let P and Q be the propositions. The biconditional statement is represented by P double implication Q is the proposition P if and only if Q. Now what does it mean? Means P implies Q as well as Q implies P. Because biconditional both way है, तो it means P Q को भी imply करता है and Q imply करता है P को. That's why we mention if and only if Q. Now when the statement is true, the biconditional statement P if and only if Q is true when P and Q both have same truth values, otherwise it is false. Moreover, biconditional statements are also called as by implications. Now let's try to construct the truth table with the help of example. The example is you can take the flight if and only if you buy a ticket. So again, four possible cases in this case. First, we need to identify the two statements. First statement is you can take the flight. Second is you buy a ticket. So suppose this is a P statement and this is Q statement. Now, suppose you take the flight, means P proposition is true, and you buy a ticket. Clearly, as per the statement, this is true. Now suppose if you don't buy a ticket but you can take a flight. As per this one, this is completely incorrect. Or if you buy a ticket but you cannot take the flight. Again, this is incorrect as per the statement. Now, suppose if you don't buy a ticket, it means we cannot take a flight. So, clearly in this case, the statement is true. So, the biconditional P if and only if Q is true only in a two cases, or we can say that only when P and Q both have same truth values. Otherwise, it is false. तो दोनों वे से रिजल्ट हो रहा है. P की happening is depending upon Q. So अगर P happen हो रहा है तो definitely Q is there, and if Q is there then P is there. It means they both will happen together or will not happen together. Means either both the things are true or both are false. Only in that case these sentences are